Hello, my name is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to this stream of Europa Universalis IV, where we are continuing the multiplayer game, the community multiplayer game. This is the third season that we have had this running. We've had a couple of players switching around. The Martian, who was previously in Manchu, has switched over to the Ottomans. The Ottoman player, who had a lot of connectivity issues last time, has switched over to Palembang, but is unfortunately not here today, so that's just a thing. Oda has decided to give up. I think they did have a province. Oh no, Oda is actually dead. I didn't realise they got wiped out. Interesting. Okay, so Oda is actually dead. We have got two new players in India. We've got Mindboy in Delhi and then Mania in Jaunpur, joining their Bahmanis player over there in India as well. The only player who is not here today is Portugal. So Portugal is currently protected, but they are the only country that is actually protected. Otherwise, we have a full house, which is pretty cool. We have set 2 minutes of pause time, so Helson should be unpausing now any minute. And we're going to go from there. So once again, I do apologise for the downtime in trying to get the game up and running there. We just had one massive bug, and then we did a mass hot join, and as you can see, we now have all of the players. And it wasn't just a matter of one or two players that wasn't able to join properly. It was more than half. Like, it was a big error. Is someone playing as Aragon? No. Spain has a player, Castile has a player, but Aragon does not. So we have, in fact, let's go down the list. We have got Alone Without AE over in Tunis. We have got, I have to keep doing this as a, there we go. We have got Charles in Cusco, Blue Kiwi in Ajam. Wait, where's Ajam? Oh, it's this one, right. I was thinking they were in Southeast Asia for some reason. Then we have Commander Faceless in France. We've got that guy coming in with Oirat, who massively beat up Manchu last week and is probably going to be going after Ming this week. We've got Helson in Muscovy, having already expanded somewhat. Novgorod is still alive, but only just. Then we have got Holy Victor, appropriately named in the Papal States, and we are on pause, so we are now moving. We've got Kaiser Wilhelm in Ulm, and Ulm has actually apparently grown a little bit. He's got a bunch of vassal states as opposed to actually taking the territories because he's in the HRE. We have a legit player down in the Congo, probably trying to get Catholicism this time around, though I don't think that Portugal has met him yet, so he has not yet been able to do that. We have, who is this, Mania in Jaunpur, so that's one of the new players. We have Master Giles in Hosokawa over in Japan. We have Mean Wolf down in Malacca. Still not joined by any other players in this area, so Indonesia is probably going to become a Malaccan stronghold if he manages to expand quickly enough. We have, oh gosh, what name was this again? Kamchandals. Hang on, I'm going to bring up the player list, like the actual player list with actual names from Discord, so that we can have some recognizable ones. Just going to give that a second to load. So Kamchandals was Logan. Then we have Validity over in the Pirate Republic of England. We have, who is this? Venetian Merchant, also known as Aretos in Milan. We have Bacon Killer in Castile. We have got Klemf in Bahmanis. We've got Fewer as the Emperor of Austria. Jamie in Sweden. And then Mindboy in Delhi. So that is a list of all of the current players. There are like 20 of them. I don't actually know exactly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, I've lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 players at the moment. Portugal missing, 26 would be the total. So straight out the gates, we have a couple of NPC wars. So we have got the Pope going after Savoy, probably trying to take over Nice before Milan does. And that should just be the Papal States. Oh, and Austria versus Savoy. That should be a pretty one-sided war. Austria might be trying to gain territories here. Oh no, Sungao's been occupied. Sungao actually starts as Austrian. It's unlikely that they're going to be going for Savoy and Vaud. I would not be surprised if Milan goes over those territories. We have Commander Faceless in France going to war alongside England against Thomond, Kildare and Tyrconnell. So this is helping the English expand into Ireland, giving them even more power. Hosokawa, meanwhile, in Japan, is currently at war with Hatayama and Satake. Hosokawa at this point has so much power over here in Japan that they should really be able to just gobble the lot up. He does have a pretty significant coalition forming against him, with basically everyone in the area, with the exception of Ando and Nanbu and Utsumiya and Satake, apparently, wanting a piece of him because he's been taking so much territory from a lot of the other factions. But I suspect that this is going to be a fairly straightforward conquest of Japan until Ashikaga calls in all the other shoguns for a massive showdown against Hosokawa, and that's probably going to be the big war that we need to look out for. But considering he's already taken down half of Japan on his own, I'm not too concerned. Then we've got Sir Striker in Poland, currently fighting against Bohemia, Memmingen and Salzburg alongside Brandenburg. Brandenburg's a player, right? Yes, Slurfen. Then we have Slurfen in Brandenburg in that war against Bohemia, so those two clearly deciding to partition the area up between them, so that should be a fairly easy fight. We've got a bunch of Poles here fighting against Memmingen. This is Poland and Brandenburg. It's actually a fairly even match, with Bohemia bringing in more and more troops. Bohemia is on a -1, and Poland, Brandenburg actually sent packing by the Bohemian forces there. An early defeat for them, although a fair chunk of Bohemia is already occupied, but no forts. The forts are all over here in Praha and Pilsen. And there is now 25,000 troops sitting on Poznan. And this is, of course, a weakened Poland after the wars against Muscovy last time. He is still sitting on 15 loans. Still making money right now, possibly through subsidies? Nope, not actually getting any subsidies, just a very, very powerful taxation-based economy currently going in. Plus, are you earning anything from... Nothing from Lithuania, but Danzig is giving them some money as well. We'll come back to that. I think that's probably going to be the most interesting war in the short term. Then we have the Mamelukes currently fighting against Dongola. This is already a 100%, so I don't think the Dongola is going to exist for very much longer. England currently fighting against the Irish. I don't think that that's going to be any other factions in it. And actually England getting pretty lucky getting 3 Irish people all allied to each other. Should make pretty quick work of those, depending of course on whether he's co-belligerized them or not. Otherwise some aggressive expansion is going to be rising, but it's so far away from continental Europe that others aren't really likely to care very much. That's definitely one of the benefits that England has in expanding towards Scotland and Ireland early on. Then we have the Ottomans, newly played today, or with a new player today, they were played last week, currently up against Serbia and Bosnia, so making some pretty quick moves to try and consolidate some more territory, because the Ottomans did not grow very much last time. We have Milan, who have decided to, oh dear, the Augsburg and Milanese punitive war, so a coalition, a massive coalition has triggered against Milan, Austria and the Papal States, so 3 of the players are currently working together against a huge coalition. It's Austria, Milan and the Papal States. Okay, so Poland unfortunately has to depart early, having missed most of the early session. So Poland is now going to be set to AI for an hour or so when the player is going to return. But definitely the most interesting thing right now is this coalition. 30,000 infantry against 119, 9,000 cavalry against 24,000, and this is against the Emperor. If the Emperor gets too weakened here, what's going to happen to the HRE? Because other factions are going to notice that the Emperor is not able to really defend any of the smaller states. They might actually start expanding out. Who are the player great powers? Great question. We have got the Mamelukes, the Ottomans, France, Bahmanis, Poland, Muscovy, and that's it. And we are playing with special rules in terms of victory points and scoring. So right now, the scores on the doors are... In first place, we have the Empty Roads as the Mamelukes, having earned 10 points last week. Then we have France with 6 points. We have Bahmanis with 6. England with 4. Papal States with 4. Morocco with 2. Portugal with 1. Poland with 1. And Cusco with 1 point. And if you are interested in seeing the scores and the players, I will link you the score sheet. You can find that right there, and then you can find out how exactly everyone has scored. So for example, you can get points from highest income, from the most developed province. You can only score that one once. Someone did ask, if I have the top 3, do I get all top 3 slots for that? No, it's just the top province in your country, and then 3 different countries get the points for it. For top 3 great player great powers, top 3 military rating. So in the score system, we do have a military rating, which is a better average over different military quality. So it's quality versus quantity, as opposed to just saying whoever has the biggest army, which would really benefit those with large quantity as opposed to quality. The player with the largest fleet. So here we have just gone numbers matter. And then victory points. There are a couple of provinces around the world which will net you a point for ownership of that province. And those provinces are Gotland, over here, Gelre in the Netherlands. I'm going to need to see if I can remember them all. Rhodes off the coast of Turkey. That's 3. Where else? We've got Tortuga in the Caribbean. That's 4. We've got Betsimisaraka. Oh, which one was it? I think it was Vadamandri in Madagascar. I think that's 5. We've got... So, off the coast of Japan, over here, the Pirate Daimyo, that's 6. And then the 7th one is, of course, Tirhut. And Tirhut currently owned by Jaunpur, so we have our first victory point score from the Jaunpur player. Anyway, back to the big war over here, because this is going to be devastating. The victory condition for Milan is just a white piece. He needs to try and get these guys down to where Augsburg is willing to peace out, but their war enthusiasm is 103. I'm not sure I've ever seen a war enthusiasm quite that high. That is absolutely redonkulous. Tyrol currently being occupied. There are a bunch of armies around ready to come sweeping in. We've got Milan under siege by the mighty Switzerland. We have got Cuneo under siege by Frankfurt and Pisa. How did this trigger? So let's switch... Oh, bloody hell, Milan! What did you do? 49, 50, 50, 71, 71, 79, 79, 79. Good grief. Milan took way too much territory in one of their wars. That is absolutely insane. I just want to see what the Papal States aggressive expansion is. It's not that bad, and I think he's been forced to peace out in the war against Savoy because of being dragged into this Milanese war. I do wonder if Milan's allies are going to stick by them throughout this conflict. It would be really quite easy for them to just peace out and be like, no, good luck. Which players are in the best position right now to start eating into the hatchery with the Emperor, eating coalition sandwich? I mean, the one that I'm expecting to get the most from this is Brandenburg. I would not be at all surprised if you see Brandenburg gobbling up a bunch of territories, and maybe Ulm as well. Neither of them, I think, allied with the Emperor, although Ulm is still a free city. Actually, much easier if we check this just by clicking on the country. Saxony, Salzburg, and Memmingen. So Ulm is not allied to the Emperor, neither is Brandenburg. And if Poland was actually here, then Poland might also be in a position to take some more territory. And in fact, the Polish Brandenburger force is possibly more likely to take more of Bohemia, knowing that the Emperor is not in a position to stop them. This is a really early slapdown of a couple of the players here. This is kind of interesting. Alright, Castile is now in a war of their own, currently fighting against Burgundy alongside France. So France and Castile deciding that it is their time to expand. Early conflicts seem to be going their side, although we do see the Burgundian forces currently going for Rheims and Paris. And in fact, the French forces down here currently in shattered retreat, having just been defeated by the combined Burgundian forces. Is Castile actually sending troops? They are, though only 12,000. Is that actually all of Castile's forces? No, they have another 7,000 somewhere. So the 7,000 were defeated alongside their French allies, and they have another 12,000 currently on the way in. Milan at this point is now fully occupied. They are starting to lose war exhaustion, which is going to start affecting their revolt risk. They're also in a low stability, which is going to be causing them issues. 146, 47 war enthusiasm. This thing just keeps on climbing. That's insane. I'm also going to turn the music down a little bit. It seems to be quite loud. I can't believe how Milan would make such a bad move. Yeah, this is really screwing them over. I mean, we do have a large Austrian force here currently working to try and regain some power. We've got Milan's army is sitting back here. It does look like the players have got their act together. They're probably sitting in one of the voice chats that we have set up over on the Discord, working together, currently fighting against the Burgundy army, which is going to be a great blessing for the French and Castellan side, with Burgundy taking some pretty hefty casualties here. The Allies have somehow managed to bring together quite a few troops. They've got 50,000 men in the field here. I would suspect quite a few of them will be mercenaries. This is getting to be quite a close battle, with Pisa and Ansbach sending in another 10,000. It does look like they're going to be sent packing, and they are suffering some pretty hefty casualties right now. This is not a fight that I would stay in. And there we go, they are once again sent packing. Ferrara soon to fall to the coalition forces. Austria, meanwhile, little bits being nibbled out of them. I mean, Tyrol should be a fairly easy one for them to recapture. The fall of Vienna would be a bigger problem. And then Ferrara, they've gone to fight this with so many forces against Ferrara, which is just farmland. So despite the fact that it is a fort, didn't actually offer them any benefit. What they probably would have preferred to have done is fight over Treviso, which is hills, or better yet, Tyrol, which is mountains, because you do get the defensive bonuses if you are the defender of a fort. So if you're attacking into a fort which is under siege, you get the defensive bonuses. What's happened today? Well, today we're having this huge coalition war against the Austrians, the Papal, and the Milanese player. Meanwhile, the partition of Bohemia continues. It does look like the Brandenburger and Polish forces have gotten their acts together. Meanwhile, France is counterattacking into Burgundy. Burgundians seem far more interested in taking down the Pope rather than fighting for their own territories over here against the French, who are actually going for their lands. This is a really, really, really good position for France and Castile to find themselves in. Meanwhile, over in Ireland, we do have England expanding throughout a couple more territories. Let's just take a quick look at their coalition chances as well. There is definitely going to be a coalition rising around the different Irish factions. Scotland having very just 1 point away from joining the coalition themselves. So England's actually managed that very, very well. And probably won't deal with an Irish coalition because they're never going to feel themselves strong enough to actually take England and France and Castile down, because that is still the triumvirate of alliances going on over there. Who else is allied to Austria? Well, other than Milan, the Papal States, they also have Hungary, Saxony, and Muscovy. Oh, Muscovy's allied to Austria. That's interesting. Probably in a bit of a buffer either against Poland or against the Ottomans. That will be interesting. In fact, Austria losing heavily here could give the Ottomans a really good opportunity to go after Hungary. In fact, this would be an optimal opportunity for them to go after Hungary. Let's just take a quick look at the Ottomans, because I am wondering if they are building a spy network against Hungary. No, they are not. They're building a spy network against the Mamluks, though. That's interesting. Alright, so we have Maurici coming in as Portugal. So Portugal has decided to show up today. So let's just go and switch them as present. And Portugal is no longer protected. And that means no countries are protected today. This is actually a really, really good attendance. Who did the Ottoman player ally with? That is an excellent question. We shall need to go and check that.